Disney has recently made it a trend of sorts to produce live-action films, and some of them include some interesting plot ideas, such as character backstories and stories told from the other side, like Maleficent and Maleficent 2 were a few years ago. Welcome to Binge TV, and today we'll be presenting you with our exclusive review of Disney's new villain protagonist live-action film, Cruella. As always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to turn notifications on for more videos like this one. So, Cruella de Vil is one of Disney's most well-known and despicable villains, and with truly malevolent villains like Scar or Jafar or even the Evil Queen out there, that's a lot to say. Featuring originally in the 101 Dalmatians Disney film, Cruella is infamous for being obsessed with manufacturing fashion objects with animal leather, such as Dalmatian leather. Similar to Maleficent or even DC's Joker films, this live-action film delves into Cruella's backstory to explain her motivations and past to us, the viewers, who only see her as the villain she is in her feature film. And let us tell you, Emma Stone's performance as Cruella is the movie's main selling point, and it does not disappoint at all. Even if you don't empathize with Cruella's backstory, no one can deny that Stone portrays her exceedingly well. The Cruella screenplay starts in the most ironic way. Cruella owns a Dalmatian herself. Considering the reasons Cruella de Vil is known for as a villain in the future, that's some interesting foreshadowing on what's going to happen soon on the film. Now let's talk a little bit about its plot and pacing, which is most likely where fans and critics will disagree the most. Cruella's first act is probably the weakest part of the film, yet it seems more like a necessary evil because we need to understand Estella'S childhood as a girl with a rebellious streak, from her iconic black and white hair and her intriguing mother, who urges her never to give in to her dark side, named Cruella. As you might have expected, Cruella's mother is killed by Dalmatians who were chasing Estella, prompting her to feel responsible at her death and ending up as an orphan on the streets of London, where she meets her future minions Horace and Jasper. Estella'S dream is to become a fashion designer up to the level of the movie's main antagonist, the Baroness. Things take a turn for Estella after she fixes a costume at a local store and draws the eye of one of the fashion world's most powerful and influential designers, Baroness von Hellman, who turns out to be none other than an abusive boss who's also responsible for the murder of Cruella's mom. The Baroness brings out a madly competitive streak in Estella, who soon unleashes her pent-up alter ego, Cruella, as a kind of glam punk performance artist of the fashion world. It's during the film's second act that things start to pick up, as instead of explaining Cruella's villain start of darkness by showing us Estella'S darkest hour, it shows us Estella engaging in a fashion war between the Baroness, with Estella pretending to be the Baroness's minion while working against her as Cruella, her dark alter ego. Going from a tragic backstory film to a fashion war seems a bit eclectic, even for Disney, but somehow Cruella and Emma Stone's superb acting managed to make it work and actually engage us. This Cruella doesn't seem like the puppy murderer we've come to know her as. This one's an impatient rebel who wants to prove her worth to the world. While the rising star versus established couture queen concept is fantastic and definitely makes up for the movie's first act, the thing with Cruella and the Baroness's rivalry is that the Baroness is a legitimate psychopathic monster that makes even the original puppy murderer, Cruella de Vil, look like a saint by comparison. This movie is supposed to explain the rise of Cruella as a villain, but the Baroness has been forever cemented as an eviler-than-thou figure in Cruella's life. Estella eventually sabotages the Baroness's spring collection show and upstages her, performing her own in Regent's Park. By this point in the film, the Baroness has already found out that Estella and Cruella are one and the same, and then attempts to kill Estella. However, the film's biggest and least foreshadowed plot twist turns out to be that the Baroness is actually Cruella'S biological mother, who gave her away to Catherine at the start of the film so she could focus on her career, and she had raised Estella in secret. The monstrous Baroness even attempts to kill her again, yet Cruella manages to survive and even watches the Baroness being taken into custody. We did mention that Cruella had Dalmatians as pets, and that served as foreshadowing, didn't we? Well, the Cruella of this adaptation doesn't end up growing up with a hatred of Dalmatians, ironically enough, because the whole point of the movie was kind of explaining how and why she became so hateful of these poor dogs. This is jarring enough when we take into account that the Baroness had used the Dalmatians to kill her mother in the first place. Cruella ends up giving 2 offspring of her pets to Roger and Anita, a far cry from the Dalmatian murderer we saw in 101 Dalmatians. As expected, from a movie with 2 warring fashion designers, the costume design is especially outstanding, led by 2-time Oscar-winning costume designer Jenny Beavan, featuring some jaw-dropping designs with all sorts of crimson taffeta and expensive fabrics as the designer's main weapons of war. Regarding the film's photography and direction, the main concern we had with the film is the lighting during the night scenes, which is especially evident in the third act of the film, where everything is so pallid that it's difficult to make out what's going on. The acting on Emma Stone and Emma Thompson is one of the film's biggest highlights, though the screenplay is definitely where the story suffers the most. The backstory is definitely poignant, given the sweet relationship between Estella and her adoptive mom, and the additional details given to a fairly flat Disney villain are well appreciated. The film even presents Cruella's half-black and half-white hair as natural, instead of an aesthetic choice as most would be compelled to believe. However, the 2019 Joker attempt is definitely transparent here. The film tries to turn Cruella de Vil into a sympathetic character with a tragic backstory that drove her to become what we know her as today. But Cruella de Vil and the Joker are 2 very different characters. The Joker is essentially a laughably evil villain who, while still a murderous psychopath, somehow manages to make us laugh while he does his acts of evil. Cruella de Vil made no one laugh with her fashion-obsessed antics in her feature film. There's a kind of unspoken rule in filmmaking and storytelling that's: humans are fine, but animals, and more so dogs and cats, are sensitive territory for viewers. So, in its own twisted sense, it's easier to look the other way when the Joker is killing people in the funniest way possible than it is when Cruella wants to skin some Dalmatians for a fur jacket. The Joker's a charming villain and has been like that for many years. Meanwhile, not only isn't Cruella as well known nor as popular as the Joker, but her original villain motivation is quite flat, leaving this film with bare-bones story hooks to work with and turn her around. So this film is kind of trying to be the Joker without the Joker. More than explaining the why behind Cruella de Vil, this film reimagines her into something much bigger, which is the film's real purpose in the end. So, is it a binge or a bin for us? We do say that you should binge this movie and rate it with a 4.5 out of 5 stars in our ranking. The characters and their role in the story can be a bit confusing, but it's definitely an entertaining piece that everyone would enjoy watching. So what are your thoughts on our binge or bin review for Cruella? Is it going to be a binge or a bin for you? Or did you watch this fantastic film already? Let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for more.